Okay, now we're in here in Reaper. We're going to show you the out of phase reverb sense. And the way it works is very simple. When you add a reverb, you have a dry and wet mix, okay? And most of these reverbs are always the same, 50-50, okay? So, it's always equal. But that creates a problem. Because when you send to a reverb, you still have dry, and you still have dry here. A lot of people think that dry and dry nullifies itself. That's not always the case. You gotta really be careful of that because you're just increasing volume. So here's what we're gonna do. What I do is the sends normally are post fader. That's how everybody's always done this, post fader. Well, when you do that, here's what you get. I have a little classical guitar track that I recorded in like 20, 30 seconds, whatever. It's just so you can listen to it as it goes in and out of the reverb. First of all, we have the reverb, and we're going to keep it normal. So it's just going to be a regular send. Okay, and I'm going to remove it so you can see me doing this. So I send it here, and that's the default, post fader, post pan. So I'm going to control the post, right, volume, and pan. That creates a problem though, because I can't control how much of that vocal goes into reverb. But then people say, well, why don't you just use this? No, that's only controlling the level going to it, not the actual in and out mix. Now I'm going to show you. So when we play this track, this is just a regular reverb. And the track's still going to it, nothing's wrong with it. The problem with that though, if we hit the phase button, nothing happens. Okay? That's because you can't cancel something that doesn't exist. So, we're going to let that play, and here, this is just going to repeat it, but anyways, now we're going to change this. So, some parameters. We're going to go pre-fader, post FX. The reason why you want to do this is because we don't want the volume to be affected by the main volume going to it, the actual send volume. We don't want it to be affected by the fader, but we want the dry volume that's going to it to be affected by the phase. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. What you're hearing is the phasing. We're phasing out the actual dry portion of the reverb, not the wet. See, that's what we're doing. We're affecting it. So, at any rate, I use this to then go this. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually controlling how much of the actual track is going in and out of the reverb from a depth perception. So this is completely nullifying the dry. And when I bring the fader up or down between that area, so at 0, right, affinity, if I bring it up, I get it out of the reverb. Okay, it's in front of the reverb. But if I bring it down, it's going into the reverb. That's because it's basically, I'm trying to control the dry and wet mix here, right, of the reverb without going to it, all using just the phase button. If I remove the phase button, you're going to hear that's a normal reverb sound. But it sounds really, it sounds good, but it doesn't really sound that good. Because you can't control the way you place it unless you mess around with the reverb. So if I bring this all the way down, remember that we sent it pre-fader. So you're still getting the volume, the dry in there. Right? So all we're doing is we're using phasing cancellation to cancel out some of the dry volume going to there, because you need to nullify it. In order to do that is with phasing. Okay? So that's basically what it is. It's just a little phasing trick to nullify the dry going to the reverb without actually touching the reverb at all. Okay? And you notice that it's as it goes to affinity, it's at 100% in there. If we bring it out of affinity, it's still in there. It's much deeper than it was. Watch when I remove this now. See? I'm actually almost nullifying at 100%, so this, I think that's what it sits at without the phase button. So at affinity, That's what it sounds like. And this is getting it out. So basically, what you're doing, if you bring it past affinity up, you're bringing it out of the reverb. If you bring it past down affinity down to negative decibels, you're actually bringing it into the reverb. That's deep in the reverb. And then this is just the completely canceled out volume, the dry volume. If I go past affinity high, I'm actually getting more volume, but the reverb now is the actual vocal, or this track doesn't sit inside the reverb anymore. It's actually going to it outside of it, because it's overwhelming. What I'm doing is I'm overwhelming the drive level now in that reverb on the synth. I hope you understand that. It's a bit tricky, but this is a really interesting way of mixing where you can get a really nice perception of depth without messing around with the reverb at all, without going through all these stages, going around, setting your wet and dry. Just forget it. Use phasing to do it. So if I bring it past affinity, which is the same level as the reverb fader, I can bring out the volume a bit, and I'm getting a nice perception of upfront sound. If I bring it down to affinity, down past it, I get a nice focused reverb just on the sound. I don't hear upfront dry sounds anymore. If you bring it down past more, to 0, you'll actually hear just the synth. So affinity is full mix. It's deep in there. To bring it out, bring it forward, or to get it back in there just a bit, get it past affinity. Basically, your point is to go up or down past that point. That will get it out of there. This will give it more volume to get out of there, but this will still get it out of there here. So that's it there. That's my little trick. This works great for vocals. You don't have to use vocals on it, but it's really meant for that. It's meant so that you don't have to have a separate reverb for vocal. And going around messing around with the wet dry, it's a big problem doing that, because you have to get the wet dry mix properly, or it just sounds too muddy or too upfront. Anyways, that's just my little trick. You can try it on the console. It's the same thing. It's just, that's basically the same thing. It's pre-fader, post-FX. I have an Allen Heat GL2400 here, and I do the same thing on it. It's just an old analog, mixer, and it's not digital at all. And I do the same thing on it. You use a phase button on a mixer, and you set your send for pre-fader. I use it all the time, so it works on a console or here. So it doesn't matter where you use it, it always works. It's a great way to have depth control without spending hours and hours there with the frickin' dry and wet mix. So there you go. That's just my little take on it, and thanks for watching.